Are you a full-time creative and want to make content like this? Well, I'm Kevin, and I'm a full-time photographer and creative. And I have a podcast where I answer your questions and bring on sick guests. Check out the Casually Creative Podcast. New episodes drop every Monday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Welcome back to another episode of the Casually Creative Podcast. And today is a very special episode. We have our very first guest with us, and it is none other than the Katrina Sachon.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous.
So am I. I'm never like on this side of the questions and answers. I'm always just asking things. So this is definitely different.
Definitely new.
Super excited though.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'll be asking questions you already know, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
But dude, it was funny. Yesterday we were talking, and you said I should have named the podcast Casually Creative with K's, and I was like,
But it makes sense. It's Kevin, like casual. Like I think that like makes sense in my head.
I mean,
Who else agrees with me?
I get it, but what we can do is just for this one episode, we can call it that Casually Creative because of Katrina and Kevin. So I think that makes sense.
KK team up. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
So tell me, like, what have you been up to today? Like,
I have just kind of been chilling. I was gonna get lunch with somebody. They didn't want to get lunch with me. Even Katrina Sachon gets ghosted.
Damn, that's wild. That's wild. Nah, because I've seen your Instagram stories are wild. Dude. Okay, so on her close friends, she posted a screenshot of this DM, and it said like 9 messages, and then it was like trying to get blocked. I was like, "There's no way."
Oh goodness. See, but the thing is, I'm always polite enough to where I like block out their name. Like, I'm not gonna expose you. You're annoying me, but I'm not gonna expose you. Like, I have enough like respect. By the way, I unfollowed that person, so
that's good. That's good. Do you get like wild DMs?
Oh, I get crazy DMs.
No way. Is it from like players and stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Like I really do. It's I'm not gonna say too much, but I do get some pretty crazy ones, and then I also get crazy ones from people with like no profiles, and so it's like 0 followers following like 4 people, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you suck at like your job," and I'm like, I have a job at least. I don't
crazy.
know, but
with 0 followers, they're hating.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I do get some crazy DMs. I got a lot of they just sit in the requests.
Yeah,
and, it is what it is.
Damn, that's crazy. But you got stood up though. You do all that, but you still got stood up today. That's crazy.
You can't win all your battles. You gotta. It is what it is.
That's funny. I haven't been doing anything today really. I've literally been setting this thing up for like hours, and I've been trying to find different ways to different angles and different places to set up. And I had this set up right here that we got right now, but then I moved everything around to try to get different ones, and I ended up going back to this one. So I did like all of that for like nothing. But it's okay because we're here right now, and I feel like the camera angles look pretty good, don't they?
They do.
Straight,
and I got my good side. My left side is always my good side.
See, I knew that.
I refuse to film anything on my right side. You will never catch me on my right side. I always tell photographers and anybody who takes my photos, if you take photos of me on my right side and you post them, I will sue you.
That's
no, I'm joking. I'm not a brat, I promise.
Oh man. So I guess we'll kind of just get started right into it. So if you don't know already, Katrina Sachon is from Greenville like I am. She is, well, I guess you should just tell me about yourself so I don't get it wrong. Tell me like kind of about yourself, what you do, how old you are, all that type of stuff.
So I'm a sports reporter. I'm going to be on NFL Network one day. I am going to be there. And I graduated a little while ago. I graduated, 2022. Yeah. It wasn't that long ago, but it feels like forever ago because I took a gap year after high school and I just worked my butt off. And so I like to tell people I went from high school into the sports workforce, and I got a ton of great basketball gigs with the AU league. And then over the summer, it kind of really just took off. And it was more about like getting my name out than anything else. So I got my name out to a bunch of really, really great coaches and teams and whatnot. And attended a bunch of 7-on-7s over the summer and whatnot. And that kind of, transpired into the season that I had with Christchurch, which was the best thing in the world. And but it's still like, even to this day, it's about like getting my name out and keeping my name clean and keeping my reputation good. And but in the sports world, and I'm sure you know this, networking is everything. Right. And the more people you know and the more positive connections you have, the further you're gonna go. Because if you're trying to like tear people down in the process and get your work out that way, it's not gonna work. Yes. And it's like, I have worked with so many great photographers and videographers, so many. And I don't think I really have like any bad relationships with any of them, because it's so important to just kind of keep like the good vibes. Right. And it's you're going to be working with them so much on the sidelines, and when you're not talking to players and coaches, you're going to be talking to them. And so why try to make enemies with those types of people? That's we could go on a whole thing about that. But so kind of tell me how, obviously, I mean, let's just let the like cat out of the bag, the elephant in the room, I guess you would say. There's not a lot of women in the sports industry, especially reporting. I mean, you have Erin Andrews and love Erin Andrews. Okay. I love Erin Andrews so much. If you know anything about me, I talk about her all the time. Love her. So
you have her and you have some other people. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. So, but kind of tell me how you got like super into sports. It's honestly, I mean, I'm sure you can like agree with me when I say this. There's not a lot of girls that are into sports as much as you are. So kind of tell me, I remember you telling me your dad got you super into sports. So kind of tell me how all that happened.
So I have been watching football for quite literally as long as I can remember. My dad got me into football at a very, very young age. Not that I knew what a cover 2 defense was at 4 years old. I was there though. I was present and I was watching football. And it's funny actually, my parents, my dad especially, tried to get me into every sport possible. I did basketball, I did soccer, swimming, karate, dance. I did the whole thing. And none of them stuck. None of them. And I think it's this like running joke in our family that my dad was so disappointed. So I have a brother. He's 3 months older than I am. And it was this like whole running joke that like we never got into sports. We don't have an athletic bone in our body. It's actually really embarrassing. But so my dad was like, oh, well, they're never going to be professional athletes. That sucks. And but my love for football kind of just grew as I got older. My dad grew up in the Pittsburgh area when he was younger, so inherently I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. It's also an ugly sweatshirt he's wearing over there with that Cowboys logo.
That's crazy. Who's in the playoffs though? That's wild.
All right, so remind me how many Super Bowl wins Dallas has?
Okay, y'all are. It's gonna be adding one this year. I promise you.
All right.
We're gonna go back to this clip. It's gonna be a post. I'm gonna post this on Instagram when they win.
All right, we'll see about that. But I don't remember where I was, lost my train of thought. But
your dad, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I grew up learning about all the greats, Troy Polamalu, Mean Joe Green, Swan and Stallworth, Franco Harris, and that kind of started like my love for football. And I'd ask questions about coaches and, well, who did this player play with, and when did they play, and Pittsburgh's only had 3 head coaches in the last 50 years, and that's interesting. Why is that different from other teams and whatnot? And those questions sort of just formed into more questions and whatnot. It was a hobby, now it's a passion, and I want to turn it into a full-time career. I tell people all the time, I love my job. And if I can talk about football for a living, there's nothing better for me. I don't see anything else better for me.
So have you always thought, so for me, I love sports. I love football especially. And I always knew I wanted to do something in sports, but I never knew what. Like at one point I wanted to do, well, first off, as a 5-year-old, I wanted to be either a WWE superstar or a football player or a baseball player. But then quickly realized that wasn't going to actually come true.
Don't we all?
so then I kind of switched into, I wanted to I knew I wanted to do something with sports. So whether that was own like a equipment store or something like that, I knew I wanted to do something in sports, just didn't know what to do. So was that kind of the same thing for you? Is like you knew you wanted to do something in sports, but like, or has reporting always kind of been like in the back of your mind, like you knew you wanted to do it?
Yeah, I remember it kind of clicked in like middle school. I started playing like fantasy football in middle school with my dad and like his friends and whatnot, and like middle school was kind of my takeoff of like really getting into football and like really understanding the players. When I was in middle school, Pittsburgh had like they called them the Killer Bees. So it was Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. And that's like when I think about Pittsburgh and like the high points of Pittsburgh in my life, I think about that. And I think that kind of that love for like that trio and like them, it was so interesting to me. And I was like, how do I get more involved into this? Like I said earlier, I love Erin Andrews. I always, we would see her. She'd be on Fox. I'd watch her every Sunday, and I'd be like, I like love her. I love watching her. And it's funny because my dad got me into sports. He loves sports. He loves Pittsburgh. And but my dad always says, I don't like that career. And it's funny because he has like mixed feelings about me going into this industry. Does he support me? Absolutely. Is he going to want to see me fail? No. But in this day and age with social media and people being able to say whatever they want to say behind a screen, you know, he has mixed feelings. And I think he's more so like protective of me, and he doesn't want, like, I care about what people think about me so much. And in this industry, you got to be thick-skinned.
Yeah.
I was even texting him about something today, and he was like, you got to be thick-skinned. You just have to be thick-skinned. Yep. And going back to your question, though, I keep on like...
It's all good. It's all good. Nah.
But yes, I kind of realized it in middle school, and I was like, hey, I love this. This is what I want to do. And it kind of just took off from there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's sweet. So did you do anything in high school to like kind of start getting into sideline reporting? Did you do it in high school at all?
Yeah, I did. So my freshman year of high school, I covered my high school football team, and it was more so a bunch of write-ups and stuff. I strengthened my writing skills and whatnot. And I worked with Overtime South Carolina, and there was this guy, I don't remember his name, but he was my editor, and he was really great, and he gave me a bunch of advice. It was actually discontinued. My picture though is still up on Twitter, and if you look my name up,
there we go,
that's all that matters. On Google, but it's like I had braces, I had a side part. Like somebody's gonna go pull that picture up one day, and it's like the very first one. You can look me up on.
I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna look it up right
I really now. But you can look my name up, Katrina Sachon, and it's gonna pull up a bunch of my pictures. But the very first one is gonna be me.
I see it. I'm dead. I'm so dead.
Oh goodness,
that's hilarious.
Man,
all your TikToks come up too.
My TikToks come up, my pictures and whatnot, but
I'm dead.
Oh goodness, so dead. But yeah, I started with them, and then it got kind of weird due to COVID, like my sophomore year. And then junior year was weird. And then senior year, I really got back into the swing of things. And funny story, the way I would get into the events, I'd bring my camera along with me. Was I good? Absolutely not. And they were horrible photos. But the thing is, like, anybody's going to let you into a sporting event if you have a camera. Like, nobody's going to let you in if it's some chick with a clipboard and a microphone, but everybody's gonna let you in if you have a camera. So I brought my camera, and I would do like post-game interviews and whatnot. They were horrible. They sucked. The lighting was horrible. The sound was horrible. I didn't know what I was saying. but I did them.
And that was in high school?
And it was in high school.
Okay.
And that's how I kind of got my start. And people laughed at me. People judged me.
Oh, yeah.
And it was brutal. It was really brutal. And it was because I knew so many of the football players and the basketball players and whatnot. And that's like, a lot of my friends were friends with them and whatnot. And they were like, she just wants to like talk to the football players and whatnot. And it was rough.
Yeah.
And but I think because I took it like from high school and then I kept on going with it, now those same people are hitting me up on Instagram.
Okay. All right. No. Let's talk about this. Nah, for real. Let's talk about this. Okay. So when I was in high school, I got started my junior year with photography and all that. And I knew it was kind of the same thing. Not like I'm not trying to get with anyone by doing photography or anything, but there was a bunch of people judging me like, oh, dude, like, what the hell is Kevin doing? Like,
Yeah.
He's like, why does he have a camera taking pictures?
Right.
Like, he's never done this his whole 3 years of high school, and all of a sudden he wants to do it.
Yeah.
So it was that. And the same ones that were talking shit about me doing what I'm doing, now they're like, they're either hitting me up for free pictures or they're saying, I'll be at, I was at Clemson one time and I was in this bar and this girl was like, oh my goodness, Kevin, like you do, like you're so talented. Like I love you so much.
They be in your
like you are not.
They be in your DM requests now.
I'm dead.
DM
it says follow back. It says follow back. No, dude, that used to be the most annoying thing. And
yeah.
golly, and I always say like I don't worry about like what people think about me. But like everyone does that, like to a certain extent. And I'd say like, oh, I don't care, but like, I do. I definitely do at some points.
Yeah.
But now that thing in high school was, God, that was rough. But
I think people in high school are just judgy in general.
Yeah.
And that you're trying to, the thing is like, this doesn't even have anything to do with like sports, but like high school doesn't matter. Like the people that you hang out with in high school don't matter. And if anybody here is in high school and watching this right now, I want you guys to know that you are going to take along with you 3 or 4 people from high school.
Literally.
And that is it. You're not going to talk to a bunch of people. And that is something you can't tell somebody. You can't just be like,
they're not going to believe you. Like, nah,
they're
dude.
They're not going to believe you. They just, and it is so frustrating. And the moment I graduated, I took with me 3 or 4 people. Those people I'm still friends with today, and everybody else.
Yeah.
You may follow them on Instagram. That's cool. You may like their posts. That's cool. But you're not going to like catch up with them. You're not going to get lunch with them every other week. It's unattainable. And it's just, you don't need them. And it's,
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You got to kind of realize like, and it doesn't mean, I think that comes with a lot of like negative connotation of like people don't like, oh, they like wish you ill. There are some people that you're just not going to catch up with because you're not a part of their life anymore. Not because there's bad energy. It's just they're not a part of your life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
but it is kind of hard to tell someone in high school that like, like high school doesn't matter, because that's like their whole life is school and what other people think. But if you are high school, like this shit does not matter. Like I promise you, it does not matter, dude. I was at, oh my God. So I went to Malden High School's like Spirit Week, and I did all of their like pep rallies and stuff, and it's so awkward for me because you know the memes of like, the meme where it's like the dude that goes back to high school, and he like looks at his school and is like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I feel like people think I'm that dude, but like I'm just there to like film a video, and it's literally high school over again when I walk over there, dude. Like I know some of the football players, and they're like, why were you talking to this person? Like, well, I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm 20 years old. Why am I doing this?
I think that's another thing. It was, I went to jail, man. And like, it was like, people had me asking if I was going to come back and like report at the games and whatnot. And it was like, I don't have anything bad to say about Jailman or the football team or the coaches. That's the thing. But it's like the people in the stands, they're a whole different thing.
Especially girls, but that's a whole different thing.
Golly. And it's like, because I know those people. I sat in math class with those kids.
Yeah.
And now they're like watching me pursue my career, but like it's
But they don't understand. Like they don't understand.
Mean energy. It's just awkward. Like it's just awkward.
Yeah.
And the thing with Christ Church is I knew nobody. Like when I started working with them, like I didn't know a single person. I didn't know a single football player.
I feel like that's not bad though.
No, and it was great. And I can positively say, first of all, I hit it at the perfect time. They won the state championship. Like, hello.
Yeah.
And I love their coaching staff. Coach Hatfield, he's the head coach at Christ Church. I will always have good things to say about him. He is one of my favorite coaches that I've ever worked with. He's probably not going to see this, but he's like... I love Coach Hatfield. He is, the way he encourages those guys, the way he like uplifts them. I genuinely think that's a huge part in why they won the state championship. And I love coaches that can genuinely like uplift guys in the way that he does. He was so encouraging, and even when we were doing our interviews and whatnot at the beginning of the season, it was rough. You had to get like the wrinkles out. You got to like get past the nerves. And he was very he was patient. He was like, hey, do we need to do another take a deep breath, it's gonna be okay. Even post-game interviews, like after the game, all the celebration and whatnot, he's like, you got my time, like I'm here for you, it's gonna be good. And there were a couple other coaches, assistant coaches and whatnot, and they were always really great. And so like I said, I really hit Christ Church at like a perfect time, perfect moment. The football players were really nice, and it was pretty great. Yeah,
I think it's always really important to have, especially like when I was with Malden, a lot of those coaches and stuff were very understanding of like what I did. For the players, and at least my experience, the players don't understand that this is like a job, and like this is how we're making our money.
Yeah.
By doing this.
This is how I'm paying my phone bill, y'all.
Exactly. So trying to get them to understand like certain aspects about like what we do was a little difficult. But it always was helpful to have that support like behind you with the coaching staff.
Absolutely.
So like for me, it was Coach Neesmith and Coach Mack and Coach white guy, Coach Yance, Coach Stone, and all those guys. They've all been my coaches in the past, like when I played. So it was super easy. So it's always good to have that like understanding group behind you. You just finished up your season with Christ Church, right?
Yes.
Y'all won a state championship. Yep. It went well, correct?
Yep, it definitely went well. I even got a medal, y'all. Like 2 official
medal. Did y'all get rings too?
They got rings. I didn't.
You didn't get a ring.
I didn't get a ring.
Come on now.
I know. That's crazy.
I
got a petition for one.
So I know for me, after I did my season with Malden, I knew right away I wasn't going to be able to jump right into like the college world and all that. I kind of knew that the next year was going to have to be in the high school world, but just kind of freelancing. But now I feel like I'm at a place where I know some people at Furman, and I can do some stuff for Furman and maybe get somewhere with that. So what are your plans? I know you have plans to be at the NFL Network, and you don't want to be in high school for forever. So what are your plans for the future to get there? Yeah,
that's a great question. I have always kind of tried to keep like an open mind to everything. I like to be very flexible and whatnot with anything. I know that I have a ton of basketball tournaments and some fun things coming up in the summer and whatnot. And definitely, like I said, I'm going to be on NFL Network one day. I'm going to be there. Trust. If this was like a movie, it would like cut to me being on NFL Network and then like be like a flashback of me saying this, because I'm going to be there one day. Trust.
I'll keep the clip. I'll keep
definitely
the clip on my computer.
You got it. Definitely. So it's just all about moving up, and I think it's with God's timing, like he's got it. Like,
exactly.
We don't really know exactly like what's happening and whatnot. I definitely have some kind of an idea of what I want to do in the fall. Something that we might need like a second episode, like keeping up with.
There's something cooking up. That's what you told me. There's
something cooking up. There we go. But I think we need like a keeping up with Katrina and
Keep
Kevin.
It Up with Katrina. Okay.
There you go.
That should be a whole like episode, like
that's a series.
Yeah, series from the podcast. Keep It Up with Katrina.
But we definitely have kind of an idea for the fall. Still trying to work out details and whatnot. But definitely got some fun things planned for 2023. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say right now.
Okay. I know what it is. She can't. She can't really say it. But it sounds exciting.
I'm definitely excited.
So that's pretty sweet. So kind of talk about, we kind of hit on it a little bit. So kind of talk about like being a woman in the sports industry. Even you're outside of high school, you had to deal with all the mean girls and all that stuff. Do you still deal with that? Like now, how is it?
Yeah, it's, but it's more so like I don't hear like any of it. Like nobody says it to my face.
Right.
Nobody says it
Right.
to my face, but I know people who hear things, and I think it goes back to like having that support system and being okay and being secure within yourself. Everybody has insecurities, and everybody's like gonna look in the mirror one day and be like, don't love the way like my hair looks or my body looks or whatever. And it's but it's so easy to say like, oh, just love yourself and like everybody else will fall in line after you. It's so easy to say that, but to actually like put that into like action is something completely different.
Right.
It's definitely hard, and I think a lot of times a lot of times I am the only girl on the sidelines, especially with the Christchurch. I was the only girl on the sidelines. Not that I care, but other people do. And I guess it's funny to see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really view it as that. I love football, and I was so focused on football games the entire time. I don't care about anything else. And it's, I do realize that it's a male-dominated industry, but I think I hate like having to talk about it, and it sucks that we have to have this conversation because it's like I just want to talk about sports. Like that's it. I just want to talk about sports, and because people like don't accept women in the industry, it's like it's 2023, y'all.
Right.
Like let's get it together. I think it can get difficult, and people they'll have a bunch of crazy claims for why I'm on the sidelines. She's doing it for attention. She wants to talk to the football and basketball players. She wants to do whatever. And it's like the bottom line, and what it comes down to is I love football. I love sports. I love the industry, and I love watching sports games. And like I said earlier, if I can talk about sports for a living, I don't see any better career for me. But there are setbacks with whatever career you choose, whether you're like a dentist or a sports reporter. You're gonna have things that aren't great about your career. And it can get difficult sometimes. People's opinions of you can get to you sometimes.
Definitely, for sure.
Like I said earlier, my dad always tells me you got to have thick skin in this industry. And I think the way I kind of get around that is you got to look past that. You have to be like, okay, like first of all, I know more football than a whole lot of people who are judging me.
Hey, she low-key, I'm serious, you low-key like probably know more football than me. Like, I'm so serious. And I played it for like since I was 6. Like you definitely know more football than me.
Yeah. And I think it's about being secure with what you know. I know that I know football, and I know that I know football better than a whole lot of people out there. Yeah. And that's not like bragging. It's my job. I better know football better than a whole bunch of guys out there. And that's the truth. Like I better know it. And the thing is, like, for women in the sports industry, you gotta, first of all, you have to be able to, you're not on equal levels when you come in. Men are here and women are here, and you have to at least get to the men's level, and then you have to go even a step further to prove that, hey, I know more football than a whole lot of people. And I think that's like kind of the hardest part. But like, how do you do that? How do you prove? You got to go out on the sidelines and just show what you know, and get in front of that camera. Don't mess up. Report, do your post-game interviews, and show that you know football.
Exactly. Yeah, I think at times it's definitely easy to, not that you, I feel like for you it's definitely a lot more different because you will be the only girl on the sideline, and like honestly, truthfully, there's not a lot of people. You're the only person in Greenville that I know that does like what you do. Yeah. Like at your age, I mean, there's people for like YFF. So I feel like it's a little bit different for you, but there's times on the sideline when I'm a photographer and I feel like people are kind of thinking that same thing or judging me or whatever it is. Yeah. So definitely thick skin is definitely important, especially in your world you're in.
Any like profession on camera is, or like in the public eye, you got to have thick skin. Even football players and basketball players and whatnot, people are gonna say things. People are gonna say things about like how you're performing on the court or the field. People are gonna have opinions, and if you constantly let those opinions get to you, you're never gonna make it. And if I stopped every single time I got a comment on my video talking about, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
You get those comments for real?
I used to. I don't anymore. But it was really when I was posting like, do you want to hear a funny story?
Yes.
I back in like early last year, I was posting like these like NFL like recap videos, and they would do really, really well.
I feel like I remember those.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
Please don't scroll, y'all. They're still on my Instagram. Please don't scroll. But and it was like the breaking news type, like Tom Brady's coming back for his whatever year, and they would get a ton of views like on Instagram Reels, and that's where it was like the random people commenting on my stuff. And there was one video that I posted. It was like early in the Baker Mayfield Deshaun Watson thing, and I confidently went on Instagram and I said I'm taking Baker Mayfield over Deshaun Watson because of the fact that Deshaun Watson has not played in a year and we don't know what he's going to look like when he gets back to the field. And it got like 20,000 views on Instagram. And I got so many hate comments on it. Oh my goodness. Talking about she doesn't know what she's talking about. The female moment. This is why women shouldn't be in sports. It was just tearing me apart. Like it was the most like vile, inappropriate comment. Like you gotta like click the hidden comments button because of just the absurd language and everything in it. And I remember those comments like really got to me. And
did you print them out, put them on your wall?
I should.
as like motivation.
I really should. And they got to me. And I think I kind of took that as like, okay, this is the last time I'm gonna let this bother me. And I think for me personally, it's good that happened so early in my career. I took them so personally, but I was like, this is the last time I'm ever gonna let this happen to me, where I take them so personally, because I really didn't want to continue filming after that. I knew that I loved sports, but it was really hard to like post that next video. That was the hardest part, and it was the fear of getting comments like that again. But here I am, months later. I have now talked to NFL players, NBA players. I've been to ACC Media Day up in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've interviewed ESPN reporters. I have been on ESPN.
Yeah.
All right. It's all good.
There you go. Woman moment. That killed me.
People are mean. Let me tell you, people are mean.
That's crazy. So let's hit on something you hit on. You started talking about in the very beginning of the podcast, because let me sit up for this, because this gets me going so much, and I know I can think of specific people right now, and I want to say them, but I'm not going to. But you started talking about, like just being kind to other people. You know exactly what I'm talking about too.
Oh, I do.
Yep. Okay, so like, do you have problems with that, where people are like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's other people that do what you do and I just don't know. Are there people like that in your world that like everyone, like they're just focused on like trying to be better than you? Is that like a thing?
I know two other female reporters, like personally two other female reporters. One, her name is Elise Robinson. She works with sports and culture media. Tyler Butler, he's amazing. He's the one that really set me up with a bunch of like to like ACC Media Day and whatnot. Elise Robinson, she works with sports and culture. And then there's another girl by the name of Aaliyah Hatchett, and she lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. She focuses more on basketball. Elise focuses more on football. And those are really the only two female. I'm trying to think. Let me, before I get myself in trouble, like those are the only two that I can think of that are like
off the top of the head.
Yeah, off the top of my head.
If
Please,
you're someone
like,
she
if
knows,
there's somebody else, like, I promise I don't like hate you or something. Those are the two that I kind of know, and they're talented, but we're kind of doing our own thing.
Yeah.
I really work more with photographers and videographers than anything else. One of my very, very best friends.
Shout out. I already know who you're talking about.
One of my very best friends, Messiah Watt.
There you go.
Messiah the shooter.
Messiah the shooter.
Oh my goodness, that is one of my best friends ever. And okay. Can we just like put it out here?
Let's put it out there. I already know.
Disclaimer: I am not dating him.
They're not dating.
Oh my goodness.
To be fair, I thought for the longest time.
Everybody thinks that, and like everybody thinks that. Like parents think that.
To someone who doesn't know, it make like you can see you see why though, right?
And it's like the thing is like it's not like we're like just friends, but like we are actually just friends. We have never like been flirty. We have never like tried a relationship.
Yeah.
It has never been like that. And it's we went to high school together, and I've known him since our freshman year of high school. We're in the same grade. We graduated in the same class, and that boy is so talented. I love him to death. And but no, we are not dating. So just a little disclaimer to get
just
that
throwing
out
it
of
out
the
there.
way.
We should make that Instagram clip.
We really should.
Creator tag, Katrina
absolutely.
Sachon.
Like if he was like the last person on this planet, and like I had to like have kids or just like die single.
Whoa,
I would die single.
Where are we going with this podcast? What is going on?
But and I'm sure he would tell you the same thing.
Yeah,
I think we need him on the podcast
we
too.
We do. We need a whole like three-way podcast.
We really do.
That'd be fire.
He is super duper talented. He went to college in January. Missing him so much. Shout out to you. But he is at A&T in North Carolina.
Okay.
He's killing it. He's amazing. But yeah, we have worked together. So we worked together like right out of high school at the same basketball, like AAU basketball league. We did a bunch of tournaments together over the summer, and he's been there for a ton of my milestones. And so when I interviewed Donovan McNabb, he was there. Mm-hmm. When I interviewed Bryce McGowan's and Nick Claxton, he was there. And he's been there at like my highest points in my career. He's also been there at my lowest points in my career. I have called him many times in, frustration or tears because of something that happened. And he's like, hey, like you got this, like it's going to be okay. And I think that goes back to really having a good support system. He's one of the people that I know that I can call and be like, hey, like, I'm not like feeling great about this. Or like, what do we think about prices on this? And he's going to give me his honest reaction. And especially one thing, it's funny, I call him for fashion advice all the time. That man's like the most.
He can put it on though.
Oh, for
he
sure.
Can put it on.
That boy is the most fashionable. I gotta stop hyping him up. He's gonna watch this and he's gonna be like. But he that boy can dress, and I remember I would call him before a ton of my events and be like, hey, do we think this is working? Do we think these colors are working? And a lot of he's honest, and he'd be like, no, you need to change his shirt or change his shoes or whatever. So it's really just good to have good support system and good friends in the industry, and so yeah, he's pretty great.
That's good, dude. Yeah, there's one time where it was so every like camera person like pretty much knows every camera person.
Yeah.
Especially like in the area you're in, so like in the Greenville area for me, you pretty much know everyone unless they're like just getting started. But there was one time at what game was it? It was either a Hillcrest game or a JL Man. JL Man would have made sense if it was a JL Man basketball game, but it was last year, like around this time actually, and he used to be. Didn't he used to have like some combined page or something like that with someone? Like he was combined shooter with someone.
He does like a bunch of like collaborative posts with like JL Man and like.
But I thought I feel like there was someone where he was like combined with as like a business or something. You don't remember that?
I don't know. I honestly,
maybe I'm talking about someone different.
If I'm being totally honest, I just got on Instagram like a year and a half ago.
Really?
Like that, and I have like over 1,000 followers. That's not like a lot. Like I'm not being my gosh, 1,000 followers. What?
Hey, she's popular.
But
hey,
like,
for real, 1,000? Hey, she's popping off.
Man. But like, I really started like Instagram like a year and a half ago, and that's
Yeah. Okay, so you may not know, but he came up to me, and it's one of those things where it's like he knew who I was, but like I knew him,
Yeah.
but like I didn't know for sure, and I was like, bro, I know you from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I knew it from Instagram. I didn't know exactly who, and I was like, oh, you're this dude. I feel like he was a different name at some point, but I was like, oh, you're this dude, and he was like, yeah, and I dapped him up, took a couple pictures of him.
I actually know which photos you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know
those are fire photos.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
I'm not gonna lie. So I took those, and then we've been cool ever since. So I don't really talk to him that often, but just from like us DMing and stuff, he seems like a really good guy and really cool. So definitely excited to see where he goes and where he takes his photography journey.
Yeah, he's so artistic. Like he has such an artistic mind. You can see that in his Instagram posts and his clothing and his photos and the like I said, like each photographer has like their own style.
Right.
And he definitely has his own style of photography and whatnot. And I couldn't be more proud of him, and he's really great. Yeah.
Sweet. So let's just talk about what is one thing. No, which one should we go with?
Like I said, y'all, I'm not usually on this side of the questions. I have no clue.
I'm her right now.
We have switched bodies. Like,
so what is your pet peeve about sideline reporting or player, like interviewing players? Actually, hold up, pause. Let me say this real quick because I meant to say it, but I forgot. If I was a player, just by the energy you give off on social media, if I was a player and you were interviewing me, I would like shit my pants. Like I would. You are like, because I wouldn't. How do I say this? I'll be like intimidated. I would be like very intimidated. I'd be
really?
like, because like I don't know if it's you talk very fast or what it is, but I would just be like very
Really?
like intimidated. Had to get that out there just because like. But I'm watching these interviewers, I'm like, and you could tell by them too, by the way they're answering.
Yeah.
And I was like you, like, I could tell. The thing is,
a lot of players and coaches and whatnot, they think I'm older than I am. And I think, whether that's because of how I carry myself, how much football I know, they think I'm older than I am. And I would say that definitely like plays.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In my advantage. So, but I'd rather be like intimidating rather than like not like respectful at all. So yeah, I'll take that over.
There we
over
go.
That
there we
day.
go. So let's get to it then. Pet peeve about either interviewing players or sideline reporting in general. I know you got some. I know you don't like basketball players.
Stop.
I know that.
No, okay. First of all, chill. I think. I have a few. We all have a few.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, like in the sports industry in general, whether it's sports media or the athletes and whatnot, I think one thing that just bugs me to no end is fake love. Oh my goodness. Like if you don't like a certain player or if you don't like a certain person's content, don't repost it on your Instagram story talking about, oh, he's him. Shut up.
Him.
Just be quiet.
Him and Neutron.
like just
Him
shut
Duncan.
up. I cannot stand this like fake love thing. That it just irks me. And it's like
So give me context. Like, you don't have to name specific names, but like, give me a certain instance, like what you're talking about.
I remember I was talking to a not like talking, but I was having a conversation with a basketball player once at a basketball event, and he was telling me about like he had followed me on Instagram because we're like getting each other's socials so I could tag him and whatnot. And this is like all business. This is and he was like, oh, you.
He was trying to slide into DMs. That's what he was trying to do.
chill. And he was like, oh, you follow so and so, and I was like, yeah, do you know him? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like what's the deal? And he was like, I don't really like him, but it looks really good for like my following and whatnot because I like repost his stuff all the time.
Dead.
And he was like, but I really don't mess with that guy.
Was it a player? Or was it like a?
It was a player talking about another player.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna drop names ever, but he was like, yeah, I really don't like mess with him at all, but I repost his stuff all the time because it looks good for coaches and whatnot, thinking that like I'm a good teammate. Huh? Why would you tell me that?
And it was his own teammate?
It wasn't his like own teammate, but it was somebody he had played with and whatnot. Okay. And I was like, that's crazy. And so I think like the fake love thing is just, it's so easy to fall into the trap of like reposting somebody's thing just because it's like, you know them or whatnot. But it's like, let's be for real.
Social media world too is crazy.
It is.
The thing for me with photography, and I feel like I've said this, is I don't understand why for like on your photography page, if you have a personal page, whatever you do, but on your photography page, you post your pictures and you're okay. Let me look up a Drake, famous Drake.
I know where this is going.
Captions.
We've
or it'll be Drake, Lil Baby, or something.
Like
okay.
Rod Wave.
It'll be post basketball pictures, not of yourself, of like other people, and it'll be like. No. Let me find one.
Oh,
it'll be like whole squad on that real shit. Or no. This is a good one. Nobody really likes us except for us. Bro, you are not hard, bro. Like you take pictures for a living, bro. Like what are you doing? If you want to post it on your personal, go ahead, bro. But what do you share information about the photos you took, not
shots
like
fired.
Hey,
shots
no, but low key. No, I know. Okay, literally, like everyone does that in the Green Bay area, and I know some people that like do that and are listening. So like, no hate if you do that, but also some hate if you do that. I'm like, not gonna. But like, do what you do. I don't care, but like, it is annoying.
Oh goodness, shots are fired.
Shout out Jalen. I know Jalen is watching this right now. I know he does that. But no, that's the fake love thing is crazy though.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It just looks good. That's crazy.
But pet peeves, I'm trying to think. One thing, it's not a pet peeve, but it's like funny / awkward. It's like when I'm a very big person on like handheld mics. And so if I'm all right, chill. Chill.
Katrina's mics go crazy.
All right.
Go crazy.
All right. Anyway, we'll get back around to that. We'll talk about that later.
We do actually need to talk about that.
We do.
We do. Okay.
So I love a handheld mic. Aaron Andrews uses a handheld mic, so why would I not love to use a handheld mic? But if I am holding the mic and I'm asking you, tell me about your performance, and I do this, don't grab the mic and don't grab my hand. Like
I can see that.
And then it's like, what do I do? Like hand it over and then like hand it back, and then it's like awkward. Yeah. No, let me just hold my mic.
Yeah.
And everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like
that's funny. Yeah. Dude, if you haven't seen Katrina's videos, the mics questionable. I feel like you know that. Not trying to throw shots.
I think it's about constantly improving, and so honestly, like my like reporting and stuff really like seriously took off like this past summer, and so there are so many different things that you have to establish when you're doing that, and equipment's also like a really huge thing. And it was always this kind of like struggle of like, what do I use? How do I film it? Because y'all, I film my stuff by myself. I take all of my equipment by myself.
Let me say something about this real quick. I've been telling everyone that's been listening to this on my YouTube channel, on my podcast, and shout out, I know I've been like throwing shots at you and making fun of you or whatever, but I have so much respect for someone that doesn't feel like they need to wait to get the best equipment to do what they do. You just have what you have, and you're just making content.
Yeah. And it's not great, and I realize that. And I work with what I have. I work with my knowledge, and I work with my words, and I'm going to make the best of what I have. I have a few different tripods. I have a few different microphones and whatnot. And no, my microphone isn't great, and we know that.
Yeah.
But
we do.
But like at the end of the day, I'm still gonna work, and I'm still gonna try to produce the best content as possible.
Exactly.
And I think it's also like being familiar with your equipment, and that comes in with like more of the technology side of things than anything else. Yes. And I can work with my mic and make it workable for an interview.
Yes.
Or a report or whatnot. And I figured out the right distance to hold it from my mouth so that it's not super duper static. It's not great. It's not. And I realize that.
Yeah.
That's not like, I have never been like the person I'm like, oh, I'm great at what I do. That, there are always room for improvements with whatever you're doing. And I know that my mic isn't great, but I'm gonna work anyway, and I'm gonna do what I do anyway, because I love it. And at the end of the day, because I love my job so much.
And at the end of the day, it's not about your microphone; it's about you interviewing people, like you knowing sports.
Because I could have the best, most expensive equipment in the world, but if I'm talking about random crazy wrong facts, nobody else is gonna pay attention to my fancy equipment.
Exactly. So, equipment matters to a certain extent, but at the same time, like, it's not the most important thing in the world.
Because, like, you've seen those TikToks where it's like, oh, like, photographers have it so easy, you just click a button. Yeah. I'm like,
There's also TikToks where it's like, you give a beginner this, like, really expensive camera, and then you give a pro, like, a cheap-end, like, low-end camera. The person, it's always the professional with the low end camera always does better than the new person with the most expensive camera. So that just goes to show that it's not about the gear, but it's all about, like, knowing, like, you being able to do your job well.
Like, is my sound and lighting going to be great when I make it to Good Morning Football one day? Yes.
Absolutely.
But we're not there yet, and we're working with what we got.
We'll get there. We will get there. Let's see. Do I have anything else? So let's now get into the most important part of it all. The thing to me,
this is so interesting.
To me, I think it makes Katrina Sachon like Katrina Sachon, and it's the Friday night outfits.
Gosh.
So tell me about them. How do we go about picking them? Just tell me about the outfits.
That's such a good question. I take pride in my clothes. I really do. And I have had some questionable outfits over the course of the last few months. Like I mentioned earlier, Messiah, he's really great. I call him for a ton of fashion advice. But my thing, like Katrina Sachon's thing, is blazers. Blazers are my thing, and I love a blazer. It's such a power move, and it's you put like a bright blazer. So my thing is a blazer with a black tank top. That's like recipe for success. Like, you got a blazer with a black tank top, some dress pants, you're good. Like, you could wear the same dress pants for 7 games in a row. Nobody's gonna care, because that blazer is gonna take all the spotlight. So my mom's actually a fashion designer and a seamstress, and I cannot tell you how many times I asked her, like, 2 hours before a game, hey, can you, like, fix this for me? Because, like, this doesn't fit me correctly. And she's like, it's a good thing I love you. But that being said, I, like I said, love blazers, but it's a lot of times it's difficult to find blazers that are not super duper expensive, or ones that are not like granny looking, or ones that aren't men's looking. I would love to one day start my own women's blazer line.
We heard it here first.
That's been something that's been on my mind for a little bit. Like I said, Erin Andrews, she's really cool. She has a female clothing line for like sports, and she partnered with Fanatics, and she has like NFL, college, she has basketball, she has NHL stuff, and it's all partnered with Fanatics, and Fanatics is partnered with like those like sports teams and whatnot. So she's allowed to use like Steelers logos on clothing because she has permission from the NFL already. And I think that's really dope, and I think that's like a cool thing for her to do. I think I've always like been into fashion, and I love it, and obviously I've grown up around fashion because of what my mom does. And so I think because blazers are so like personal to me, and because I love them so much, I think that would be like such a cool kind of thing to do. And it's very early and still like brainstorming and whatnot, but definitely something.
Just like she's gonna be on NFL Network, she's gonna start
absolutely
a blazer company.
And I think it's so important to have goals, like just like goals in mind. So Emmett Smith once said, write your dreams down and then they become goals. And that is something
That's Bible, by the way. Habakkuk 2:2. write it and make it plain. Something like that.
And that's something that I kind of just like live by. I really do. And I think because the word like dreams, it's like, oh, I dream of floating on a unicorn. Like those are so like out there and whatnot. Goals are like set in stone, baby. Like those are, you know, you got plans. That's like, what are you doing tomorrow? My goal is to cut the grass. Like you're going to do that because it's attainable. Goal sounds so much more attainable than a dream. And so I think that's another thing. I also hate the term backup plan. Hate it. I think backup plan is like the worst thing that you could do for yourself, because backup plan means you're settling for something. And that's good. And I think I don't have a backup plan for my career. I don't have a backup plan for my life. I am going to be on NFL Network or I'm going to die an untimely death. There is nothing. Hey, I like that. Nothing else in between. I like that. Like I tell coaches, every single coach that I work with, every single director or whatnot, one of the very first things I say is, I'm Katrina Sachon, I'm a sports reporter, I'm going to be on NFL Network one day, because I have no backup plan. Why have a backup plan when I have these goals? And I think it's so important to have the thing is like, I'm never going to feel like, okay, now I've made it, now I'm good, now I can rest. But I definitely have things that I'm shooting for and things that are on my to-do list, and NFL Network is something I am going to cross off my list one day.
There we go. And I know you're a Christian, so we're going to go to church here. I said it's that whole thing of like writing your visions down is Bible. This is church. Look, Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. It's in the Bible.
Amen to that.
It's true.
Amen
so
to that.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think it's as from what I've heard from you, you really look up to Erin Andrews, and I really think it's important to have those people that you look up to and you want to be like. So kind of tell me, who are some people? Okay, people, and it doesn't necessarily. Okay, listen, you can make it reporters. Give me 2 reporters. And then also, like, what else inspires you besides, like, it can be, make it outside of sports, whether it's movies, music.
That's a good question.
Art, whatever it is. Other people on social media, just not.
Yeah. So in the sports industry, definitely Erin Andrews. And then outside of the sports industry, I love like a powerful, independent woman. I really do. And I think that powerful women are like, you can go on TikTok and scroll and see so many girls that are killing it at our age. A lot of things that come up on like my For You page on TikTok are like beauty influencers and whatnot, and I love how each of them have their own style and their own thing, and it's so easy to kind of fall into that trap of like being like everybody else. But I love girls that are killing it, but I also love girls that like, you can go into their comment section and people aren't going to be like, oh, well, I heard she's like rude off camera. I love people that are genuinely good people outside of being on camera. And it's so easy to put on this facade when you're on camera and whatnot. So people that are genuinely kind people, but people that are not afraid to kind of step out of their comfort zone and do what they love. I think you think about like actors and actresses that have had to overcome certain things, and like I said, like we got quote unquote like made fun of for what we were doing, and now we're doing what we love.
Yeah, now they're in their DMs.
And so I think I look up to any strong woman who is genuinely killing it at all aspects of life. I think that's always super, super motivating for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's really important to have, especially as like if you're a creative, to have other pieces of art that inspire you, and then also have other people that you look up to, but also like not comparing yourself to them like right away, or like expecting to, like, you're not going to expect to be as good as Erin Andrews like right when you start.
Right.
So it's going to take time. But let me just tell you this, like, first off, I meant to tell you in the beginning, like, and I've told you this before through, like, the first time I DM'd you or something, I set up on your story or something. Mm-hmm. But let me just tell you, you are inspiring people, especially, like, women your age, like young girls, who love sports. You are an inspiration to them, and you are, like, paving a way for them. And you may know this, you may not know this, but I just want to tell you that you are, like, a very big inspiration to people. Even if I don't know anyone specific, but I just know.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate it. It's definitely it's crazy to think about, but I know that I have definitely covered like girls basketball tournaments, and they were all like middle school age, and I've had like a ton of parents come up to me and be like, hey, thank you for making my daughter feel so comfortable on camera with you. And I think that's one of the most rewarding things that I hear from this. Like, I love sports, but I also love being able to talk about sports in a way that's going to make everybody feel comfortable, and not everybody's comfortable on camera, and that's okay. Like, I choose to live my life on camera. I choose to put my life out there and put my image out there, but not everybody wants to be on camera. You know, kind of sidetracking for a little bit, like both my parents are very camera shy. They're not really on social media. They don't have their face on social media. My brother's he's an engineer. He's cool or whatever. No, I love my brother. He's like my best friend. But my parents didn't choose quote unquote fame. I'm not famous, but for lack of a better word, fame. They didn't choose this like social media presence, but I did. And so I think it's very important for me to make sure that I'm like protecting their privacy. But going back to what I was talking about earlier, it's not everybody are camera people, and that's okay. Right. And so, but when you're an athlete, you're going to be on camera. So I think the most important thing for me is making sure these people are comfortable. And I never want to be like one of those super invasive reporters that are like, tell me everything about your life right now. I love the storytelling aspect of sports broadcasting. I love the true meaning of, you know, why is this athlete playing this sport? Why is it so important to them? And I think that's the best part of sports broadcasting, because nobody rewatches breaking news. Everybody's going to rewatch like a sit down interview with like CeeDee Lamb or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. People care about, you know, the meaning and whatnot. And I love that. And I think that's something that I really try to work on and try to bring a story behind everything. And so I think making sure people are comfortable on camera is one of the best things. And when you hear that warms my heart. Right. That's like, all right, like I'm doing something right in my career. Yeah, definitely when you hear something like especially for me, when parents or players, I mean, it's always good to hear like, oh, dude, your photos are like sick. But when it's like, for me, it's always the connections I make with the players. Yeah. And that's like the most rewarding thing for me. So, but I can definitely tell that you have a love for what you do. And I love that you said that you don't have like a backup plan. Like that's, I know when I said last year, when I told my parents I didn't want to go to college, I told them, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and just kind of test it out. Like there was definitely like a backup plan, kind of. Even though in the back of my mind I knew I didn't want to go to college, but so I definitely respect you for saying like, this is what I want to do. Like it's all this or nothing. Oh yeah, it's all or nothing for sure. So but thank you so much for coming on. I had an amazing time. Thank you for having me. First guest. I'm so honored to be your first guest. It actually went really smooth. I was kind of stressing about it. Yeah. I think I had definitely a couple hiccups in between, but I mean, hey, that's what editing's for. That's what editing's for. There you go. We'll be all right. So but thank you for watching. If you're listening to this still, we are at an hour, like right over an hour. So appreciate y'all for listening. Again, if you have any topics you'd like me to cover, I say this every week, have still yet to get a DM, so appreciate y'all. But if you have any topics you'd like me to cover, send me a DM on the Casually Creative Instagram or on my photography Instagram at KD Productions. And again, appreciate y'all listening and love y'all, and I will see y'all next Monday. Bye.